first reaction was, no, I don't want to do that because I'm very a shy person and I don't like to talk in public normally. But in an effort to grow, I said okay. And what kept coming to mind for my spiritual guides was to tell my story. And I didn't want to tell my story because my story is painful for me. But it's a story that I think people need to hear, especially people who are American, who are hearing Spiritism for the first time maybe, and who have felt kind of lost like I always did in my life. I grew up in a very rural community in North Carolina, and I spent all of my childhood having the fear of hell preached into me, and I was really, really scared of dying. Like, I didn't want to go anywhere. I wanted to just like stay at home and be safe, you know? And it was very painful. I was scared. And I grew up a little bit. I got into my teen years, and I couldn't accept what I was being taught. It did not make sense to me. And that scared me even more because I'm thinking, if I can't accept it, then I'm really going to go to hell, right? So I was like, oh my goodness. So I started to ask questions to my parents, and one of those questions I'll never forget, we were having dinner, and I asked them, so what I want to know is what makes this religion right and all the other religions wrong in the world. That's what I want to know, because if I'm going to follow something, if this is my eternal life that I'm talking about here, I need to know why to believe it. And their answer was, because that's what we've always been taught. And I was like, okay, that's great, but Buddhists have been taught Buddhism, and Catholics have been taught Catholicism, and atheists have been taught atheism. So how does that make it right? I couldn't accept it. And so I lived in a lot of anxiety, and I just really decided that I didn't want anything to do with religion, that I was going to try to be the best person I could be, and that I was just going to go through my life like that, because as just taking the stance that I don't know, I really don't know. So I'm just going to be a good person as much as I can be, and I'm going to see what happens. My teen years came, and I had a lot of really bad challenges happen to me. I became a mother at 15, which was very difficult. A lot of shame in that, especially coming from a very religious family. That was very disgracing to them. I had a very abusive boyfriend. I went through so many trials early in my teen years, and I didn't have any faith or anything to fall back on. So what happened was, when I got into my 20s, I was a mess. I was taking all kinds of antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs, sleeping pills, everything I could take to just numb myself and just try to exist because of this fear and anxiety that I had. So I shopped a lot. I bought a lot of stuff. I traveled. I had babies. Babies made me happy. I did everything I could possibly do to fill the void that was there. But it didn't matter what I did. I was still unhappy. I was still scared. And I was still running away from my real purpose in life. So around 30 years old, I decided that it was maybe my marriage that wasn't making me happy. So I got a divorce. And when that happened, I went out into the world again, and I ended up meeting my husband, who happens to be Brazilian. And at that time, he grew up in a Brazilian home, and he grew up with the Spiritist doctrine, but he had just begun his real journey and his real search into the doctrine. And He didn't tell me too much at first, I guess, because he thought it would scare me away, because it's kind of different than anything that we know here. But little by little, he would start talking about the ideas. But really, I was just like, that's your thing, and that's fine, that's great, and I really don't want anything to do with it. And we were happy. We had a great romance. We had a great wedding, and things were finally good. I'm like, okay, now I got it. Like, I got the happiness I wanted. I'm good now. But as they say in Spiritism, you're either going to face your mortality and your spirituality through pain or through love. And for me, it was definitely through pain. In 2005, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And like everything else, every other thing that comes in my life that I get afraid of, I kind of tried to deny it and run away from it. And all the while, he was telling me, you need to study, you need to study, you need to study. And I'm like, I do not want to study. Like, I don't care. The book sat there for years, and I didn't pick it up. My mom's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. But that's not what happened. My mom got increasingly worse. From the time she was diagnosed until the time she passed away was less than 2 years. She had a very severe cancer, one that disfigured her, one that there was really no pain medication for. She was in extreme pain. As a matter of fact, doctors say that many patients commit suicide with this type of cancer. And I couldn't even watch. And once again, I just went to the doctor and like, give me something. I can't take it. I can't even look at her. I can't even do this. And his encouragement, once again, please study. And I finally gave in because the pain was so great. I'm like, I have nothing to lose. And from the permission from spiritual guides, he got permission to study with me at home. I opened up the Spirit's book and started reading. And it was like this blindfold was like taken off. It was like this weight was like lifted from my shoulders. And I was just like, where have you been all my life? Oh my goodness, you know? It was, I can't even describe to you what that felt like for me to actually read something that made sense, to actually read something that gave me hope instead of despair, to read something that like gave me purpose in life, that, you know, told me why I'm here, where I'm going, and how I'm going to get there. It was just something that was such a blessing to me, and I'm so grateful to him and to all of you that come here to disseminate this doctrine into America, because there's a lot of people that feel lost like I did. I'm not going to say that my life suddenly got great, because that's really not what happened. Instead, it actually got harder. My trials got harder. My challenges got harder. But what was different about me was my perspective on these things. I understood that I was here to learn, and that all of these challenges are making me grow into a completely different person. That is my journey. That is my mission in life. And it has just transformed me into something that I never thought I could be. And I am eternally grateful for this opportunity. I'm continuing to be active in the center. I completed the study, the 2.5 years of the study, and it has been life-changing for me. And if you're here for the first time, and it's the first time that you're hearing about it, I just want you to understand that this is something that can impact your life in such a way and make you such a happy person and such a peaceful person. Because happiness is not a destination. It's not somewhere we go. It's not some point we get to in our life. It's a choice. And you can choose to be happy in whatever circumstances that you're in currently. Okay, so I want to encourage all of you to not just go through life, but to grow through life, because that's why we're here. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to say. And so, sorry. During some of my hardest times, I wrote a song called Faith. And we're going to do that now with my group, if I can. So...